welcome to No Particular Reason, episode 7. I know I keep getting the episode numbers wrong, just ignore me. But I do know, I counted, today is episode 7. We have my mom here today. I'm interviewing her about veterinary medicine. Yep, close enough. So, when did you first get into veterinarian medicine?
Well, I graduated from vet school in 1997, but I started working for a vet clinic back when I was about 14 in high school.
I didn't know they hired that early.
Not veterinarians, but at vet clinics. I did volunteer, and actually even before that I did volunteer work at the zoo to try to get experience with animals, because that's important to get experience. It's important to be able to get into vet school. You need a lot of experience, and so I was starting to get experience as early as, I don't know, probably 11 or 12 years old.
And that's why she's so successful today, folks. So how did you advance? Like, you work at Animal Hospital of Avon right
Yes.
now, and you were a co-owner for a while. How did you advance to that position?
Just time, I guess, and experience. So I graduated, worked at a couple of clinics for about a year each up in Michigan, and then when we moved to Indianapolis, I took the job with Rockville Road Veterinarian that also owned Animal Hospital of Avon, and I worked for them for about 10 years, I believe, maybe 7. And then the guys that owned it were getting ready to retire and wanting to sell to somebody, so they sold to me and a couple other friends, or a couple other associates, I guess I should say, that worked there as well. So then
So when did
we kind of took that over around 2007. We took over both clinics, but then I moved over to Animal Hospital of Avon and worked there because they needed more help there. But it was all part of the same company.
When did you decide to sell your business to the big guys?
So we owned for about 11 years, and then at that point, everybody else wanted to get out. I still wanted to work, but I didn't want so much responsibility of being a sole owner. So we sold to a company that basically runs the management, and they put me in charge of Animal Hospital of Avon, so that I still am a manager. I still kind of run the clinic, especially as far as medical decisions. I'm what they call a medical director. But they do a lot of the finance management and etc., which is in the hiring and things like that I didn't really want to do. So it's kind of nice for me right now. I'm still in charge. I've still got I've still got say in how the place is run, but yet I don't have to do a lot of the management aspects that I didn't like doing.
So earlier last year, I think, is when you sold.
Yep, March of 2019.
You said, you were talking to me about it, and you said it was better for you if you sold the whole clinic and then bought back into it. Why is that?
That's just how the company that we sold to, that's kind of how they run it. I mean, basically, rather than me just sell a piece of it, they had to create a whole nother company. So it wasn't like my company could own a little of it and their company could own a little of it. They basically bought the whole thing so their company can put their name on it and, you know, kind of be in charge. But then I just bought stock back into it. So there's kind of two pieces of it. I own stock, but I don't really have whole say in the company. But I do have say in the management of my particular practice because they made me practice manager. So it's kind of two different roles there.
So tell us about, you recently moved your clinic, is that correct?
Yeah.
How?
That was another thing that was nice about this company because they have more finances and the ability to finance to support the expenses of a move, which could be a big investment. And so they were able to do that. We just moved a couple doors down, but it's basically a whole new clinic and new design and bigger. And it was great. Even though they supported a lot of that financially, they let me have a big say in how I wanted to design the clinic and how the flow of the clinic went, the colors, you know, just even the logo, etc. I was able to have a lot of say in that, which was great. I don't think I would have been able to do all that. I would not have had the money or the time to do all of that by myself if I owned it all by myself.
So who decided to move? Was it all of you? Like, you had a meeting and...
So yeah, a lot of things came into play with that. The number one reason that got us talking about it is that our clinic was very busy and we needed to expand, meaning we needed to be able to open up more appointments, hire more doctors, meet the increased demand that we were finding we had. And we couldn't do that in the space that we were at. We were kind of because we're in a strip mall, we had businesses on either side of us that weren't ready to move yet, so we were kind of
confined.
We were limited. Yeah, we were limited to the space. We weren't able to expand from where we were, so we found a different space. Just happened to be in the same strip mall, which is nice because that makes it easier for clients. They can pretty easily tell right where we moved to. But we were able to find a bigger space that we could move into. The other nice thing about that was because we were taking our clinic and moving into a whole nother area rather than trying to expand our clinic that was existing, we didn't have to work with all the construction. They could do the construction in the other space and we just move everything over there rather than trying to work with them doing while they were doing construction on our space. So that was a nice benefit of being able to move separately to a separate place.
So staying on the subject of moving your clinic, if you were to keep expanding and keep growing, and you once again became too confined to stay in the clinic you are now, would you just deal with it or would you move again? Because I was sort of involved with the moving process, I just helped out a little bit on moving day, and it was a lot to do, and that was just moving day.
So I would not do it again. I mean, it's kind of has been one of my goals for a long time was since I owned the clinic, since I knew it was growing, and I thought that would be kind of a neat challenge to essentially design a clinic. And I did it, and it was a lot of work. And I'm just to the point in my career where I wouldn't want to do that again. Do I think the clinic has the capability and the potential that it may be in that situation in the future? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. But I would. It's a lot of work, and I can say that I've done it, so I don't really want to do it again.
So if the company wanted to move again, and they were like, well, if you are not going to help us move,
gets itself in a position where it's ready to expand again anyway. So, if something happens and they need, or they can expand within the time that I'm working there, it's not like I would quit. I would still help out with it, but I would not be nearly as actively involved. I'd let somebody else do it, and I'd probably step down from at the very least, I'd step down from my role as medical director, and let somebody else kind of take the reins with that.
Well,
But I
sounds
suspect
good.
I'd be retired before then.
Sounds good. That's all the questions we have for today. Thank you for joining us on No Particular Reason, episode 7, On the Road. I don't think this will be a segment. I'm just doing this today